topic, and the first, of course, is BHP Billiton, the largest of the lot. It did an enormous amount of tidying up of its balance sheet. It has a market cap of 1.4 trillion rands. Remember, you've got to add together the Billiton that is listed in Australia and in New York, and the one that trades in London and here in South Africa. It's got a twin kind of split capital structure, but it ends up being the same thing. The price earnings ratio is 16.3, dividend yield of 4.37%. That's good. Let's go straight to the share chart. And you can see, look, it hasn't done super well over a 5-year period. It's kind of battled, but it's up a lot since that very negative point at the end of 2015. So what do you think of them with regard to their assets, Joseph? We know that they're big in iron ore, they're big in oil in the Gulf of Mexico, and they're big in copper. They threw out everything else. And that looked like a great idea because they were going to be the survivor in a difficult environment.
So they were basically going to be the big guy you can get rid of in the industry. I think if you saw from the chart from 2014, I think the highest price was about 380. It was just one-way sliding. And I started turning the corner, I think, last year. So we've got the target price at about 305.
305.
So, yeah, so currently trading at about 246. Somewhere there. 250. So I think they've done few things to try and correct and to make sure that obviously they survive if we were to have another downturn.
But you're not concerned. There were people who worried back in 2016 that there was absolutely no way they'd be able to maintain their dividend, but they have. So the free cash flow generation is up, and that's of course because oil has gone from $35 to 50, which is not the 120 it was before, but at least it's not dying. The same is true of iron ore, and the same is true of copper. And they've got the great assets, so it's really just a matter of continuing to realize cost savings.
Exactly. I was going to say cutting the costs, I think, is going to be imperative. But also, I think if the oil price were to just remain possible or between at least 55 and 60 dollars per barrel, they might be able to maintain the dividend payout, and obviously with the cost-saving activities they've been getting involved in.
Because that's very big and important to them. They have production assets in the Gulf of Mexico. There's those sort of offshore ones. They've got a thing which is called Mad Dog. I don't know who came up with that name, but it's some block of oil-bearing land under the Gulf of Mexico, and that is doing well, and they're looking to expand that. Interestingly, though, they spent a bomb on onshore oil and gas assets by buying up all this acreage for shale gas. They look as though they're going to sell that.
And also, they've also gone past their issues legal in terms of cleaning up with all those spills and all the legal challenges they were facing.
Wait. So that's the South American thing, Samarco. That was a dam. It's like a slimes dam that burst and basically buggered up the whole river and took out a whole village. So now the problem there is that the Brazilian government or state government seems to think that they must set aside, I don't know, some enormous billions and billions and billions of US dollars. So where's that going? Because, I mean, is there going to be that fine, or do you think they've already provided for it?
Well, it's almost like your MTN, where you get this big debt that just gets, dropped on you. And certainly, I think also from those governments, certainly there's going to be negotiations. I don't think they're going to pay all that. And I think investors are saying, this might be a long, drawn process. But certainly, I think if there's any, I'm sure there will be a fine. It will be far much reduced than what the governments are saying. Remember, some of these governments are also bankrupt, so they need to be able to find. I mean, they need to find a way to get the money, and the punishment is very punitive, rather than to say, was it intentional or was it just their risk management and environmental?
I understand from people who know that it was a really regrettable incident. It was real negligence. They should have known that dam was going down. Okay, one final thing about that graph. To be fair to the BHP Billiton company, they spun off South 32. And if people held on to the South 32, that came out with a 20 or thereabouts rands a share value, and it's since gone to 35. We'll talk about this company a little bit later. So you could add that back on and say, listen, they haven't done too badly at all. Anyway, hot or not as far as Billiton is concerned? Would you be buying them now?
Possibly not now. I'll be holding, but I'm hot on it,
So you're hot on it because you think it's going to go higher, but you're not necessarily raging hot.
100% yes. I like the fact that you're saying raging hot. My daughter says super hot.
Oi, okay. Raging hot not. He's not a raging hot, he's just a regular hot.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll join you on